Pause Life Gamer here, and today we're going to do a review of the Callisto Protocol. This is going to be my first game review. I just started this channel. I wanted to go ahead and just review games, probably more single player games, because in life sometimes you just got to be able to hit that pause button. So we'll see how this goes, and I'll be posting some more content for everyone to watch. And if you like the video, just go ahead and stroke that like button and hit subscribe, and more content will be coming to you as soon as I can make it. So real quick, let's go over my review setup. So I have a 6800 XT. My CPU is a 3700X, and I have 32 gigs of RAM. So some pretty decent specs for this game. I did receive my copy of the game for free. It was included with my 6800 XT as a package deal. Included the Callisto Protocol and also Dead Island 2 when that game comes out in February, I believe. February, March, something like that. Alright, first up we're going to check out the story. So you've probably already seen a lot of reviews where they talk about the story, so we won't linger too long. Long story short, you play as Jacob, and he's a pilot. And during this part of the story, he's doing a job, and it gets raided, and he crash lands without giving permission, and that's bad enough to send him to jail, apparently. So that's what they do. He's basically trying to get out of prison, but everything's gone crazy. There's zombies everywhere, whatnot, and you know, it's the story's fine. Like it puts you in the place that you need to be to start the adventure of this game. So we're not gonna linger too long. That's the end of the story. Next up is the gameplay. So the gameplay in the Callisto Protocol is kind of a mixed bag. So for starters, you know, you have all the basic stuff where you're running around and you're fighting monsters or zombies, or I forgot the actual name of it, to be honest. And you're killing them, and then you're looting boxes and crates and whatnot for items. And so it's pretty standard for kind of like your Resident Evil, Dead Space style kind of game, looking for ammo. Enemies drop ammo when you kill them. I think that sets this game apart, and what they were going for is the baton. So you have the main focus in this game is going to be the melee. You have this electric baton, and with the electric baton you can do use it for melee. And at this point it's kind of a little bit different than your average game like Resident Evil, Dead Space, because melee is usually like the last thing you want to use. Maybe you're just trying to make some space, but in this it's the main thing you use. And so you dodge left and right. The melee system is more like boxing than anything else, to be honest. You dodge left and right. You don't have any type of stamina system, so you can keep on dodging, and then you'll hit the enemies. You can then combo the baton. Sometimes they may block and then they'll hit you. The actual like stunning of the enemies is kind of inconsistent at first, and then you get an upgrade that kind of basically cheeses the game. When enemies, instead of enemies actually being able to block your attack, you just slice off their arm. It's pretty broken. But I think that's one of the problems with this game, is that baton wasn't implemented well enough. I used it for 80% of the game and had no issues with ammo because of it. Another thing that you get inside Callisto Protocol is basically like a stasis arm, something like that. You can essentially pick enemies up, launch them, or launch like canisters that blow up. It's pretty fun. You can pick enemies up, put them on a spike strip, or you can pick them up and throw them off a ledge, anything like that, which is pretty fun to experiment with, and adds a little bit of variety to the gameplay. Otherwise, to be honest, most of the enemies play exactly the same. Like essentially once you figure out one enemy, you pretty much figure them all out. There's like one or two, well, there's only really one major variation in the enemy archetypes. The rest of them are pretty much always going to be zombie. They may transform, but they end up just being zombie again. The same exact attack style. There's nothing different, and that's what kind of makes the game a bit easy and a little bit repetitive, even though it's only like 6 hours, is because of how basic the enemies are. As for the inventory management, it's pretty easy. It's nothing like Resident Evil 4, we kind of have to rotate the inventory, which I love. I think that was probably one of the best parts about Resident Evil, is kind of give you that break. But you just kind of manage it. You have a certain amount of slots. I didn't really fight with it too much. I usually would sell my health items, because I usually had a lot. I was playing on normal and didn't really have much problem with health or ammo at all. And you can also upgrade your weapons. You can't upgrade your armor, which is super disappointing. Once you get your armor, it looks the same the rest of the game. I mean, I don't know. You probably get some DLCs to change it, but that's not the point. One thing that was really cool about Dead Space was watching your armor get better, and that doesn't happen in this game. Your weapons do actually change though. You can see actual visual changes. They might gain like an ammo drum, or they might gain like muzzle at the top, some type of muzzle. The one thing that's really dumb though is that your pistol, you can upgrade it and it gets a foregrip, so that way you have better stability. But the main issue with that is your character doesn't use it. It just he just holds a regular pistol, and it just looks so dumb. To have the foregrip just sitting there, they could just added something else, like maybe little, I don't know, anything else besides that, because it just is so obvious that that was just not done. As for my last thoughts on the gameplay, to be honest, it was they're trying to do something new, trying to do something different with Dead Space. Obviously, they don't want to just do dismemberment because it'd be weird. And I feel like they were almost there, but the baton was for sure like both the different thing and the thing that made it worse. Maybe not having a stamina system, that pretty much you get infinite dodge. Like dodge times were pretty large, and it wasn't rewarding enough. You can also block. I use that like 4 times. There's like a combo move you can use to block, but you don't really need it. You can just dodge and use the baton. Blocking also would take health. You can get an upgrade tree thing to go ahead and make it take less health, but it doesn't matter. You don't need it for the game. There's no reason to have it. Yeah, I think honestly a stamina system and maybe the enemies taking less damage would have do something, because the game, man, like that action is super impactful when hitting with the baton. The weapons are okay. I don't know. I kind of don't like weird energy weapons as much as I would have preferred something more like futuristic tactical style. For this type of game, I think they try to copy a Dead Space because they have more energy weapons, but that made more sense because they're cutting off limbs, so it looks better. But in this game, it looks okay, and the projectiles kind of move slow. It's a little weird. Overall, I feel like they had good ideas, but they just missed the mark. Well, not just, they missed the mark. Hopefully, if they make a second one, they can address these things and make the game a little bit more difficult and a little bit more tactical. And actually, sadly enough, they have to make it a little less fluid. The combat was pretty fluid, which is, you would think, a good thing, but I feel like in these horror games, the big thing is that they're a little clunky, and that's what makes them, because you have to really be level-headed in what you're doing to get out of the situations, and I think that's what this game was missing. So let's go ahead and talk about the presentation of this game. The graphics are very good in this game for the most part. The one thing that's kind of iffy here and there, you get like a couple bad textures, but it's solid. The voice acting is also really good. The dialogue itself is okay though, like it's nothing great or special. Like it's all pretty standard. There's nothing really surprising or anything like stands out about it, but besides being like pretty good. Motion capture, what they did, how the people move and whatnot, is very good. Dodging looks really good. How they go from cutscenes and how they go back into gameplay is all very fluid. I have to say, for the most part, like all the animations in general are pretty fluid, and I think that's also partly because there's like technically not that many of them, because there's not that many variations in actual enemies in the game. So like you can make sure to get the dodge animation right when you're only doing like 4 of them. Overall, it's pretty solid. This game is more similar to actually watching a movie than playing a game, to be honest. They go for a lot of those things. As for the horror factor, that's something that's left to be desired, to be honest. It's not really a scary game, like, at all. There's nothing that really made me jump or anything like that. They have a lot of jump scares, but like they just never landed for me. It's kind of sad because it has the environment, it has everything you can really want, but it just doesn't land it. In conclusion, the game is alright. I'd say it's about a 6 out of 10, maybe 7 out of 10. It's really hard pressed to say who would really like this game. I think if you're looking for something like a Resident Evil Dead Space game, you kind of get that here, but in no way is it worth anything more than $20. I got it for free, with my graphics card, and that's pretty much the only reason I actually have this game right now is because it came with my graphics card. Otherwise, I don't usually buy new games in general, so when you see my reviews, they're probably going to be older games or maybe games on Humble Bundle. I guess in the end, the best way to say is this game wasn't a complete waste of my time, but also wasn't the best use of my time. I could have played something else and done something better. The game isn't worth more than 20 bucks, but let me know in the comments what you think. What was your experience with it? What you like? Do you think that they're on the cusp of something great, or do you think that this was a complete waste of time, or is this more of a fish out of water situation? Alright guys, I'm gonna sign off. You guys have a great day. Bye. In conclusion, the game is alright. I'd say it's about a 6 out of 10, maybe 7 out of 10. It's really hard pressed to say who would really like this game. I think if you're looking for something like a Resident Evil Dead Space game, you kind of get that here, but in no way is it worth anything more than 20 bucks. I got it for free with my graphics card, and that's pretty much the only reason I actually have this game right now is because it came with my graphics card. Otherwise, I don't usually buy new games in general, so when you see my reviews, they're probably going to be older games or maybe games on Humble Bundle. I guess in the end, the best way to say is this game wasn't a complete waste of my time, but also wasn't the best use of my time. I could have played something else and done something better. The game isn't worth more than 20 bucks, but let me know in the comments what you think. What was your experience with it? What you like? Do you think that they're on the cusp of something great, or do you think that this was a complete waste of time, or is this more of a fish out of water situation? Alright guys, I'm gonna sign off. You guys have a great day. Bye.